Okay, don't drink and dragon at the same time. That's the lesson of the latest episode of House of the Dragon. So basically, we finally got the big battle episode we waited for. Finally, after all the build up, people saying last episode, "Oh, we ain't gonna watch it anymore. It's too slow." Finally got the battle, and now I think those people have changed their minds. And yeah, this episode was really crazy. So we start off actually pretty slow for the first half, but then towards the not even the second half, last like 20 minutes, we get a big battle, one of the biggest battles in the entire franchise, including the original. So what happens here is basically Cole's taking all these castles, and they're messing people up. They're taking these with Allison's brother or whatever. I forget, the pompous guy. They're taking all these castles. And then Cole gets this brilliant idea of what she came up with, Aemon, in previous episode of like, what if we take that Rook's Rest castle? It's like really small. It's near Dragonstone. We can cut off Rhaenyra, and maybe we can get a dragon to come out. And in the books, they had like scorpions to like, they're going to shoot a dragon with scorpion. Cole didn't even have that, so he was really dumb in this version. But their plan was to at least have like Aemon come out and basically fight whatever dragon was gonna be sent from the blacks. And the blacks, they got they basically got tipped off about this, and they figured, okay, Cole's coming. We've been scouting them for a while now, and Rhaenys decides to go out there and fight. And Rhaenys, like, I mean, she's screwing these guys up. She's messing them up. Even Aemon has a real difficult time with her, but Aegon in particular, he decides unannounced to show up on his dragon because his mommy told him that he's not a good king and he's not even half the king his father was, and that he just needs to do nothing. And he's like, screw that. He drinks, goes out, gets his dragon, Sunfire, and joins the battle. And if Aegon was like a badass, this scene could have been like sold. Like it looked pretty badass when he shows up and they're like, whose dragon is that? It's like, it's the king. And then Cole's like, fight for your king, Aegon. And then this happens where, he charges at Melees. Rhaenys dodges it. I mean, like a boss here. I mean, this lady is old enough to be his like great grandmother here. And she just sneaks up from behind him and she's just wrecking him. She destroys him. And this happens in the books as well. But I mean, this just to see it, the TV version, this is crazy. And then the blood, and he's fallen. I mean, he's lucky he was holding on there. And the blood splashes on the soldiers. Look at this. Look, ooh, right there, right on the soldiers. Damn, that guy got it right on him. And Cole's finally realizing, like, I'm good at warfare, but dragons, that's next level. And she's just wrecking him. And then you got the old lord guy here from the Black Council. He's just watching. And then he spots Aemon showing up with Vhagar, and they have this epic battle. And the battle with Rhaenys and Vhagar is really cool, but the one issue I have is well, first of all, we'll talk about this. So Aemon, and this is different than the book, he decides to blast Aegon straight up. And at first it looks like maybe he's trying to hit Rhaenys, but no, it turns out like he's really aiming for him. And Aegon's like, no. So he basically straight up betrays him. He tries to be a kinslayer once again. And he even like pulls his sword and tries to kill him later, which is really, really crazy. Because in the book, that wasn't the case. In the book, it was more of basically Aegon and his dragon, Sunfire, are fighting Rhaenys and her dragon, Melees. They're having this tussle. They had the dance going. That's why it's called the dance. And, basically Vhagar shows up and bites Melees and kills her that way. And then Sunfire falls on Aegon. He crashes to the ground. He gets crippled and he's fucked up because and he's burnt from Rhaenys' dragon. And like that's how it happens in the books, from my understanding. That's at least how I read it. But in this version, basically, Aemon just tries to straight up kill Aegon, like just straight up burn him. And I mean, he probably takes more damage from Vhagar than he does from Melees, arguably. And he's just messed up. So then he falls to the ground, and when Aegon falls to the ground, all that talk of like, oh, your king's here, he's here to fight. Nobody shows up to even check on the king. Like the king and his dragon just fell in front of all you guys, and nobody besides Cole is concerned. They're just like, oh, whatever, and they just continue fighting. I mean, he's there for a while. No, it's surprising. You'd think there would be at least some curiosity, morbid curiosity of like, hey, the king and his dragon fell. Let's go see if he's okay. They're like, nope. So, then we have the battle with Rhaenys and Aemon. And the battle is really good. But the issue I have is, so Rhaenys gets the upper hand here. And by the way, you can see, for a second. Yeah, you can see Aegon down there crashing in forest. Nobody cares. And, they have this epic-ass battle, okay? And they're, having the dance. They're going back and forth. Dragons are shooting fire at each other. And Meleys, despite being really small, she's doing very good against Vhagar here. And Vhagar actually spirals into the ground. Just straight up spirals in the ground. Hits some soldiers. Knocks out Cole. But for some reason, Rhaenys, even though she's still flying in the air with her dragon, she doesn't unleash fire on them while they're on the ground. You have the biggest dragon on the ground. He's laid out. He's stunned. Vhagar. She's a she, by the way. And all of the soldiers are on the ground, and she doesn't finish Vhagar off. I don't understand that. Well, maybe the fire wouldn't have been enough to finish Vhagar off, but she could have at least done damage to Vhagar when Vhagar was on the ground like that. And probably killed Cole because he was knocked out right next to the dragon. But for some reason, Rhaenys just flies away after she knocks the dragon on the ground. Vhagar gets back up, and then Vhagar kills Meleys, which somehow Vhagar comes behind the castle when Rhaenys is flying with her dragon and just bites Meleys on the neck and kills the dragon, and basically Rhaenys loses her will to fight and live, and she just falls with the dragon to her death on the castle, and it creates a breach which allows the Greens to breach this castle, which really wasn't that strategically important, but now they lost one of their top dragons. However, the Greens, they're not doing so well either, because, now we know Aemon is crazy and tried to kill his brother, which is even worse than killing Luke, honestly. And, Aegon's alive, but he's burnt. He's cooked, literally. Look at him. Hold on, we can zoom here. The dude's cooked. He's burnt, and his dragon's crippled. We don't know, how long him and his dragon are going to be out of commission. So he's kind of been taken off the board now, along with Rhaenys. So it's kind of a draw, honestly, this battle, because Rhaenys may be dead, but Aegon is kind of dead in a sense. He can't fight anymore. He's basically disabled, so he's not going to be a player really on the board anymore. This war is mainly going to be fought by Aemon and Cole and maybe Alicent and and then Mr. Clubfoot, which we get a little bit of scenes with Daemon this episode as well. Earlier in the episode, he meets with he's still tripping, he's still having some ayahuasca trips, and we find out actually, what I was saying in the last episode, the witch explains to him that Harrenhal is basically cursed because of the weirwood trees, and that's why Daemon is having these crazy dreams, because they're connected to everything that's ever happened. So he's actually seeing things that are actually real. It's really not tripping. He's actually seeing stuff that happened in the past and stuff that could happen or could have happened theoretically. And this lady, apparently she's the half sister of I forget her name, but I know her last name's Rivers, but she's the half sister of the Clubfoot, and her and the Clubfoot are probably in cahoots to basically destroy Daemon's brain, because the Clubfoot even says before Aegon gets his dumb idea and gets himself wrecked, he tells Aegon his last counsel, he's like, hey, don't really worry about Daemon taking Harrenhal, because that place is more crippled than me, that castle, and it will drive him mad before he can do anything. So he knows that castle was going to drive Daemon mad. So it's possible that the Clubfoot and the lady, the witch at his half-sister over at Harrenhal have been plotting to drive Daemon mad for a while, or they just, whoever came there, they had this plan of if they're Greenseers, they could possibly see the future, and they knew Daemon was going to come, and their plan was to drive him crazy and then take him off the board that way, which is kind of strategic, using magic basically to win the war, which is very different than this last battle where we're just using dragons and brute force. But anyways, this episode was really, really crazy. The battle scenes were really great. You get to see the, I'm not, of course, besides the dragons, just seeing the soldiers go at each other. There's a scene where Cole, when he wakes up, and he's like, hey, we got to go get the king because nobody's concerned about the king. And he puts his hand on this shoulder, on the hands, his hand on the shoulder of one of these soldiers to tell him, hey, let's go get the king. And the guy just turns to ash, which is a little bit unrealistic because like, if a fire is that strong to turn somebody to ash and disintegrate them like that, the armor shouldn't be so pristine and perfect like that. But hey, it's cinema; it would look great. And you see the guys in the background breaching the castle with Alicent's brother, which it's crazy that guy is still alive, and it's kind of fun watching that guy just like realize that he got himself into like way too much, like way more. He bit off way more than he could chew, and he's just like at the beginning of the battle, and he sees Meleys fly in. He's like, damn it, Cole, how could you do this? This is a horrible plan. Then the king flies in, Aegon. He's like, this was your plan to throw your king into battle. What if he dies? That was great. But yeah, this was a fun episode. Everybody's talking about it. It'll be interesting to see how things go next week. Aegon's condition, Aemon trying to, basically be the king now, or protector of the realm, similar to like what Ned Stark's position was. And how and also like at the preview they're spinning it where Aegon was the one that killed Meleys, which I don't know how Aemon's gonna feel about that, but that'll be interesting. And yeah, so it was a fun episode. Just want to do a quick review. It's hot as hell here, and I gotta do a review before it gets too hot. And wherever you are, have a fantastic day, and peace out.